What's good, veterans? Jimmy Versalino here. Today I'm discussing the VA home loan process from start to finish. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to expect. First thing that I want to talk about is really what you need to do before you contact a mortgage lender. In my experience, veterans, active duty service members, and even civilian home buyers have been doing it wrong. What'll happen is they'll go to the real estate agent and they'll ask for a referral, right? And they say, I want to purchase a home. Real estate agent will then refer them to their preferred lender. Okay, that's one way of doing it, but I think that there's some additional things that you need to take into consideration. Meaning this, before you go out and you purchase a home, there's some questions that you want to have answered by way of, what do I feel comfortable spending in the form of a monthly mortgage payment every month? So you want to ensure that the mortgage loan payment fits by way of your household budget. You following me along on that? So once you've determined that amount, you'll also want to be prepared for things like closing costs and what's referred to as prepaid items, prepaid interest, prepaid taxes, and prepaid insurance. Generally speaking, this amount, and keep in mind it can vary depending upon where you're purchasing throughout the nation, but this amount will add up to roughly 3% of the loan amount for the house in which you're seeking. So there are ways to be able to negotiate with the seller to get this covered, but these are things that you'll want to know up front. So again, the monthly payment and how much your estimated cash to close will be, right? So that way when you talk to somebody like myself, you can have a good idea and you can kind of be in the know as far as what to expect moving forward before you start the process of purchasing a home, right? So once you speak to a mortgage lender, in my opinion, it's incredibly important that you're working with somebody who is knowledgeable and proficient with VA loans. You've heard me say this before, but I think it's incredibly important. Don't just hire any mortgage loan originator. Why? Because, well, different mortgage loan originators have different specialties. Just like in the world's finest United States Marine Corps, right? You got one side of the house, they're grunts, that's me, right? And the other side of the house, you have avionics. You don't want Jimmy V working on electrical equipment for an airplane that you're going to get on. And the reason why is because you might not ever arrive to your final destination on time. So if you have questions over anything at all throughout this entire video, make sure to comment down below. If you found that this information was of value, consider showing your love, clicking like on the video, right? So my point is simply this. Work with a mortgage loan originator who specializes in VA loans. If I can personally assist you or answer questions, know that I'm here to be a resource. Once you're speaking to the mortgage lender, right, they're going to ask you some of those questions. Have you prepared for the costs associated with the purchase of the home? Do you have an ideal monthly payment? And from there, they're going to reverse engineer a mortgage payment to your purchase price, or at least that's what I do with my clients. Why? Because you might qualify for, let's just say $500,000, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be spending $500,000 or that you're comfortable with the mortgage payment. So if you came to me and you said, Jimmy, you know, I want to spend $2,000 a month, monthly, including principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, I would say something to the effect of, okay, roger that. You should be looking with today's interest rates somewhere in the neighborhood of $350,000. You following me along on that? So that way, you know that when you're out looking for these homes, right? The homes in which you're looking for are not going to exceed your budget, right? So now that you're speaking to a mortgage loan originator who specializes in VA loans, right, you're going to get a list of all of the required documentation that you'll need in order to fully process and approve the loan. This will be things like the rule of twos, we call it, right? 2 years of W-2s, 2 years of tax returns, last 2 years of 1099s, last 2 months of bank statements, all pages, even if the page is blank, right? A photocopy of your ID, DD-214. Some mortgage lenders might not tell you to have this up front. I always think it's a good idea to have it on file and prepared in the event that it's needed. And lastly, there's another form. It's called a certificate of eligibility. The reason why the certificate of eligibility is so important is because it tells us as the lender that you, as the veteran, are eligible for the VA home loan. So this will go into your loan package, and then when we're getting ready to approve your loan, the VA underwriter will see it in the file, they'll check off on it, right? And then we'll begin the process or even request the clear to close, right? But now that we've collected all of this documentation, what we're going to do is we're going to pre-qualify you for a specific amount. So we hand you a certified VA pre-qualification letter, you go out and you start shopping for homes with your real estate agent. Good to go? So once you're doing that, right, you identify a home, you say, hey, I really like that home, I'd like to write an offer on it, Miss Real Estate Agent, please go ahead and consider doing so. Once the real estate agent submits the offer, now the seller is going to review it, right? They're going to say, okay, they offered $350,000. Do I want to accept this offer, right? Let's assume for a second they accept the offer. Now you're under contract, right? Why is this important? Because essentially at this point, the clock has started. Good to go. So generally speaking, the VA home loan process will take anywhere from 30, you can do it sooner, right? But 30 to 45 days, depending upon the needs of the seller, right? And of course, the needs of you, the veteran or active duty service member. During that time, there's a lot of, how would you say, processing perhaps, going on with your loan. So the mortgage loan originator, somebody like myself, is going to be verifying your employment. They're going to be reviewing your loan, and the VA underwriter, right, an employee of the lending institution who is approved to underwrite and approve VA loans, is going to review your loan package. You following me along on that? So once they've reviewed your loan package, they will stamp it with an approval, right? The approval is important, right? Because there's two types of loan approvals. There's a conditional loan approval. So if you think about that term, conditional, it means that, hey, Mrs. Veteran, your VA home loan is approved subject to these following items: an updated bank statement, right? An updated pay stub, or a letter of explanation, just making things up here, right? But once they get all of those things back, they request it from you as the veteran. You then provide it to the mortgage loan originator or processor, whoever you're working alongside with your loan. Now they're going to request the clear to close. So the clear to close is obviously important, because once you have that, okay, now you're cleared hot for this home. There's really nothing at this point that's going to hold you back. And keeping in mind, during that processing period, the appraisal's obviously being ordered. We want to make sure that your home appraises for what you're purchasing at. In the event that it doesn't, VA will only lend you the purchase price or the loan amount, whichever is less. So keep that in mind, that this is all happening during the processing. Now that you have your clear to close, going to order your loan documents to be sent to the title company or attorney's office for you to sign and finalize all of your documents, right? So once you've signed the documents, generally speaking, it could be the same day, it could be 24 to 48 hours, but you're going to have those, in Spanish, dice llaves, right? The keys in hand, ready to move into your new home, keeping in mind that this process, generally speaking, takes about 30 to 45 days. So if you have questions over anything at all throughout this entire video, make sure to comment down below. If you found that this information was of value, consider showing your love, clicking like on the video, and make sure that you reach out to me with any questions, mortgage or VA loan related. We'll talk to you soon.